Okay, so we have completed with the Maslow's contribution to the motivations, right? So then we have here learned need theories. So in this part, I'm just going to explain about like, so need can be learned. So needs are learned, can be shaped, can be amplified or suppressed through the self concept, through the social norms and past experience. So training can change the person's need strength through reinforcement and altering their self-concept. Some people think like, so this is a need for me, and this is a necessity, right? The car may be necessity for someone, but the same car can be a luxury for some other people. So that can be learned, right? So training that will be going to change their perception. They can be amplified, means that can be increased their needs, and the other can be suppressed, means the need can be reduced. I don't want this one, that is not my priority. My priority is something else, not a car now. Sometimes the car may be priority for someone, but for other people that is not a priority. So three learned need studied in the research. The first one is need for achievement, need for affiliation, and need for power. So need for achievement, it means that want to achieve goals and clear feedback and moderate risk task, and high need for achievement, people want to accomplish reasonably challenging goals through their own efforts. Some people set their target, so they just are putting target to their own self. They are just putting in their self in the commitment that I want to achieve this goal in the short period of time, right? So that they want to achieve something, and they consider this is our need, that we definitely that want to achieve this one, and they want to satisfy their own need. They desire clear feedback and recognition by fulfilling those needs, and choose the small risk task, and prefer working alone, and they just would like to work not in a team. Sometime they would uh, like to work by their own, by self, and money is a weak motivator for them. Self Successful entrepreneur tend to have high achievement need. Second need is affiliation, that this need is for like the people seek approval from others and conform to others wishes and avoid conflict and confrontations. A need for power is the third need, seek power for social and personal purposes. Desire to exercise control over others, means empowerment or delegation of authority from the top level to the lower management, right? And the lower management, the person who is working as the head, they want some power, or that will be can be considered the need for power. Involvement in a team decision, use persuasion and desire to maintain a leadership position. The person who is at the leadership position, definitely that person will have some desire, they will have some need to be on that position for a long period of time as a leader and want to lead someone, right? So that is also need for power. Socialized power, desire power as means to help other. Some power is there required, that person want to be extrovert, I want to talk to the people, right, and lead them. Now, next theory is expectancy theory of motivations, E to P, P to O, and valence. So E here is efforts. Efforts to the performance means E to P, and performance to the outcome, that is known as performance to outcome, P to O. So E to P mean expectation. Probability, there is a chances that a specific efforts that the client or employee is doing in the organization will result in a special performance level or specific performance level. Definitely the specific performance level that person will achieve by their efforts. So that is a kind of expectation, that is a kind of a probability that person have in their mind. It is based upon their talent, skills and experience. Now P2O, P mean performance, and what is the performance? Now what will be the outcome of that? Probability that a specific performance level will result in specific outcomes. So outcome may be positive or negative, that is to be considered as valence, and anticipated satisfaction from the outcome that will be judged. So positive valence means that when outcome is consistent with our values and satisfy our need. Negative on the other side, when is oppose values, the outcome, the result which is by the efforts that is the opposite of the value, means not matching with the values, and which prevent need fulfillment. So now if we talk about expectancy theory in a practice, how we can increase these efforts, E to P expectancies, like how we can increase, and P to O and outcome. So how we can increase their expectancy and the performance. The first one here is increasing E to P expectancies, means efforts to performance expectancies. Hire or train staff and adjust job duty to skills. According to the skills, the staff should be hired and the duty should be adjusted. And allocation of the duties and the responsibility that should align with the skill what the client, what the employees are having. Provide sufficient time and resources, and provide coaching and modeling. For example, successful co-workers to build self-efficacy. Now, how to increase P2O expectancy, performance to outcome? Measure performance accurately, timely. There should not be any unbiasedness. Explain how rewards are linked to performance, and provide examples of co-workers rewarded for performance. Next is increasing outcome valence, means there may be some good or bad, positive or a negative, right, outcome. So individualize rewards. If the outcome is only because of the one person, then that person should be rewarded. So in this way, that the good things that can be increased. Distribute reward that implies value, and minimize countervalent outcomes, means peer pressures. Now next theory that we have, ABC of behavior modification, OB mode. Expectancy theory says motivation is determined or calculated by employee beliefs about expected performance and outcomes. OB mode, like organizational behavior modification and social cognitive theory, explain how people learn those expectancy beliefs, or means the probabilities. Organization behavior modification. Now, the central objective of or behavior modification is to change behavior. So if you are going to change B from the ABC by managing its A and C, means antecedent and consequences. So these two things need to manage to change the one part, that is B, behavior. Antecedents means the previous one. The previous mean what happened before the behavior. For example, someone behavior is going to change, and what happened that before that. So what a person says or does, that is the behavior. Now what will be the consequences, what happens after behavior? So I would like to explain this one with the two example. The first example here is that, for example, the phone makes a distinctive sound. There is the phone call. this is that you don't know what will be there, what will be the message there, right? Or second, that the behavior will be, you check phone for the new message, you check the message has come. Now that is the behavior. According to the message that you will react. New message has useful information. That is the third one. Second example that I want to give you, that is related to here. Antecedent means driver hears seat belt warning sound. For example, that you're driving, you hear that there is a beep. It shows that you have not plugged the belt, right? You need to wear the belt, right? And the behavior, the second part, the behavior will be driver puts on seat belt. That is the behavior. What will be the consequences of the behavior? Driver avoids a possible injury and tickets. So that will be the consequences. Consequences may be good or bad. So this is ABC of behavior modification. 4AB mode consequences: positive and reinforcement. So when reinforcer is introduced, behavior increases or is maintained. For example, perceiving praise after completing a project means positive reinforcements. If you are an employee in the company, you receive praise, appreciation from your boss or from your co-workers, then what will be the reinforcement, what you're going to go further, that will be always positive. Next, if we talk about the punishment, second, when introduced, if the punishment is introduced, right, and then behavior that will be decreases. For example, being demoted or ostracized by our co-workers. If there is a punishment, some other co-worker will have a different mentality towards that person. They will think like this person has been penalized for some of the acts that he or she did with the organization or with the customers. So that is the punishment. This is the second consequences. The third consequences, that can be extinction. When no consequences and the behavior also decreases. For example, the performance declines. The performance was here, it declines when the manager stop congratulating the employees for their good work. This can also be the one of the factor. And negative reinforcements, when consequences is removed and behavior increase. Sometimes the manager stop criticizing employees. The manager is not saying anything, like when there is the poor performance is also there. But when the employee is looking at this, right, uh, not complaining most often, then also the performance that can be improved. Next, we have one theory is known as a social cognitive theory, right? So cognitive behavior, thinking level. uh, Cognitive mean, for example, that you want to go to buy something, that you ask like, I want this particular thing, where should I go? The salesperson is saying, you go to aisle number 5, you find on the left hand side, you go there, you find it, you come back, right? So what you're doing, you're having communication with the person, and you're using your mind, cognitive. Social cognitive related to the society, right? Related to, maybe social means like you can be sociable, right? Sociable means extrovert, talking to the people. So now in this case, learning behavior consequences, that will be observe others consequences. For example, if the co-worker is fired for being rude to the customer, what will happen, right? So that is observe others consequences, anticipate consequences in another situation. For example, fired co-worker incident affect your P2O, means your performance to outcome expectancy about being fired if rude to co-workers. that something that will come in your mind, if this has happened before, it can be happened with you as well. Behavior modeling, that says observing, imitating, and practicing behaviors of others. And in this case, that it will definitely increases your self efficacy. Now, regulation is the rules and regulations, right? If we're talking about self regulations, mean refraining from eating an entire pizza just because it tastes good. Like we can take an example, that self regulation, if someone is having a diabetes, right, is eating too much of chocolate, then what will happen? The consequences will be that a person, he or she, will be in the hospital, that will be hospitalized. That person knows if there is some problem in the body going on and treatment is going on, and they should not eat too much of sugar, that will elevate the diabetic level. It means that person having low in self regulation, right? So they are not able to control their willing power. Intentional or purposive actions, right? Set goals and standards for yourself to regulate yourself. Anticipate consequences. Anticipate mean like you are going to estimate what will be the consequences if I do this one. Self reinforcement. So now, so all these that comes under self regulation. Now look at this. You have effective goal setting features. How you can set your goal for yourself in the organization or maybe for any purpose. Now the goal should be, sometimes we can say smart, but it should be smarter. So S stand for specific, what, how, where, when, and with whom the task need to be accomplished. You want to accomplish the task. What is the task and how that can be completed? Where it should be done, when it should be done, with whom should it be done? Be specific with the task. Be specific. Second, measurable. If you are going to start this one, right? So how much and how well, at what cost? That it can be quantified. Achievable, challenging. No doubt, it should be challenging, but should be achievable, right? You should not say that you are just want to reduce your body weight 10 kilograms in 1 month. Not achievable. Very, very difficult. Not possible to achieve that goal. So it's a challenging. So I mean to say the goal should be achievable. No doubt it should be or it can be challenging yet accepted, right? So it will be ready to E to P, mean efforts to the performance. Now, if we talk about the relevant, it should be relevant within employees' control. If something is not in your control, that you cannot do that one. And also that you should put some time constraints, means commitment with the time. So time framed. This is the T1. Due date, when it should be assessed. And exciting, if we talk about the exciting, E, right? So employee commitment, just not compliance. It is not only because these are the rules and regulations set. This is only because of the self commitment, self leadership. Reviewing. So reviewed means the feedback and the recognition of the goal progress and accomplishment. Whether you have achieved that or not, on the regular basis, that you're going to check and see what is the feedback, what is the variation from the actual and from the goal set. Now, what are the features and the characteristics of effective feedback? Number one, if talk about the specific, then refer to the identifiable behavior and outcome. For example, sale increased by 5% this month. Specific. Relevant, the behavior on the outcome within employees' control. It should be in the control of the employees. It should be relevant. Timely, as soon as possible. Credible, trustworthy sources. Like it should be knowledgeable and there should not be any biasness, means it should be unbiased. sufficiently frequent, more often for learner, otherwise according to the task cycle. Now there are the coaching. So we have one coaching that is known as strength based coaching. So strength based coaching that maximize employees potential by focusing on the strengths rather than their weaknesses. This is also one of the way in the organization behavior in the organizations, that strength based coaching process. Employee identifies area of strength and potential. Now, in this case, employee will be able to understand about what are the big strength. No, we are not talking about the weakness, but what is the big strength. And coach that definitely will helps the employees to discover how to leverage those strengths that employee are having in our organization, and discuss of the situational barriers, that no doubt you have that strength but there will be some barriers, and if the barriers are there, then there will be a solutions to that. The coach and the employer, the co-worker will be helping in this regard. So this is strength based coaching process. Second, the strength based coaching motivate. Definitely if there is a coaching process, and that definitely motivate employees, because people seek feedback about their strength. Yes, whether I have this strength, I'm strong in this one, that the people need acknowledgement. They need, yes, I have sensed someone is also explaining to me and showing me the clear picture, just like a mirror, showing me the mirror like where I stand, not the flaws. Personality, interest, and preferences stabilize as an adult. Source of a feedback. The feedback can be taken from the different sources. Non-social, social, and preferred feedback sources. The non-social may be the feedback not conveyed directly by the people. For example, that is electronic display. That is like some way that you will be getting feedback from the social media, that feedback from the software, from the app. That is the non-social sources. The social sources, if we talk about, that is directly from the boss, directly from the employees, directly from the co-workers. And multi-source feedbacks can be full circle of people around the employees. Preferred feedback source that use non-social feedback for the goal progress feedback, and use the social source for conveying the positive feedback. So now, this is one of the example of the Canada Post pay inequality or inequity at Canada Post. Until recently, the Canada Post pay rural suburban RSMC mail carrier differently from the urban carrier. A arbitrator concluded. Arbitrator means, like, you can say the person uh, who is between the two persons is going to solve the case. An arbitrator concluded that this practice breached the distributive justice rule. The two groups perform essentially the same work, yet RSMC career earned significantly less pay because those persons are delivering their post letters where in the other area, in the suburban area, in the rural area, instead of the urban area. So why the work is the same, number of hours are same, everything is same, why the Canada Post is paying less to these people? This is the discrimination. Now, organizational justice. The perception that appropriate formal and informal rules have been applied to the situation. Now, distributive justice, procedural justice, and international justice. Distributive justice means how various benefits and burdens are distributed among the employees. Burdens means the work and duties. So these duties are, it should be. distributed equally among their employees. If the organization is doing so, it means that they are distributive justice, they are working on that. Procedural, appropriate procedural rules have been applied throughout the decision process. If there is some decision, maybe positive or negative, the appropriate decision should be taken. All these steps which is set in the rules and regulations, those rules should be adopted step by step and should be for all the people, same for all the people working in the organization. Now, interactional justice, if we talk about, appropriate procedural rules have been applied in the way employees are treated, throughout the decision process. If the decision is whether this is a positive or a negative or favorable or unfavorable, but there should be a inter-actional justice. So what is that? In the way the employee should be treated, if the positive or a negative way, but employee should be treated very nicely. Equity theory. Now, so what equity theory says, on the left hand side and the right hand side we have something input output, and on the right side we have input output. So on the left hand side we see that the output input ratio. So whatever the output is, it's based upon the input. You have very good skills, you will pay more benefits, you will be paid. You are putting more efforts, you will be having recognitions, learning. If your performance is really good, then definitely the promotion will be there. If you have a very good reputation, number of hours that you are spending, and you have a very good experience in that line, then definitely that you will be having very good and a positive outcome. So this is what we you have here. And on the right side, that the person who is having this output input ratio, that can be compared with other persons, other companies output input ratios. So this is compare own ratios with others ratios. So this is the equity theory. So if there is some variation or something like that, he performed this one. Take an example of the car dealership. If one person has sold 10 cars and have received $10,000 extra money, on the other side, if other employee have sold the same number of cars in that particular period, have received 11,000. Why 1,000 extra? There, if that there is a comparison between these two, means output input ratio of one person and output input ratio of another person, if there is some difference, that need to be compared, right? But it should be equal, so that will be justified and performance of the employees will definitely improve. Correcting the inequity tensions. No doubt, if there is an inequity, is not equal. Now how to correct it? So we have a number of examples here. So inequity tensions occur when we believe we are under rewarded or over rewarded. So motivated to reduce their negative emotions. The first one, reduce our input. For example, work more slowly. So in this case, what will happen? If we are under rewarded or under awarded, then what will happen? That we as employee will try to reduce our inputs. For example, work more slowly, number of hours are there, just killing the time to get money, right? So work more slowly, often fewer suggestions. Initially the person was giving more suggestions to the company, now he's saying why to give any suggestions, right? There is the like my efforts are rewarded, I don't want to go with that. And engage in a less organizational citizenship behavior, increase our outcome. Now ask for pay raise, right? No doubt, on the other side, if you are under rewarded and you are asking for the pay raise, I want my pay raise more. Unauthorized use of company resources, they will be using the resources right? In a wrong way. Increase others input, right? Ask the better pay coworker, like they're a coworker, they are asking to the another coworker who is getting more, right, to do more work. If they are getting less, but they are getting less, you are saying that you should you should work hard to achieve at my level or at other who is having a higher position. Reduce others output, for example, ensuring the coworker gets less desirable job or working conditions. Change our perception. For example, believe that coworker really is doing much more, such as working longer hours. Our perception that you are going to change, right? Change comparisons others. Compare yourself more with a friend who work in a similar job than the higher paid coworker. Don't compare with the higher pay co-workers, but you can compare with you with the other organizations also with the same level. Leave the field, for example, move to another department or quitting from the one department to the another department or quit that department. So correcting inequality tensions. Procedural justice rules. There are some rules. What is the procedures? Perception that appropriate rules are applied in the procedures used throughout the decision process. Decision makers are not biased by self. Uh, they are just going to go for the self-interesters or restrictive doctrines. Decisions are based on accurate information. Whatever the decision is there, the decision maker consider the interest of all group, not as just one individual. Decision and procedure are compatible with the ethical principle of whatever the principles, the rules and regulations they have in the organization. Decision criteria and procedure are applied consistently, not like this time the decision is based upon something, but last time the decision was based on the some other things. Means whatever the rules are there, they are just going to follow the same rules for everyone and consistently. Employee can present their evidence and opinion to the decision maker, means voice of the employee. If the decision is unfavorable, the employee can come and raise their hand and they say, okay, so I'm not satisfied with the decision, so there should be a proper rules and regulation and proper process for listening to them. Questionable decision procedure can be appealed. Inter-actional justice rule. Employees are treated in a polite manners, right? So that is the inter-actional justice rule. Employees are treated with respect. Employees receive through thorough and well justified explanation about the decision. Employees receive honesty, candid and timely information about the decision. Whatever the decision is taken, it should be among the employees on time.